Israel's war cabinet currently holding an emergency meeting about a possible hostage deal as well as an extended pause in fighting. Joining us live now, former FBI hostage negotiator Phil Andrew. Phil, good to see you. Thanks for your time this morning. So what's your takeout from the messaging that's coming out from Benjamin Netanyahu, from Joe Biden as well, even Hamas? They're all hinting it's close. How close could it be in your view?
Well, it does seem to be very close, and I don't think they would be talking about it. But I think what they're doing is trying to message and create additional expectation and pressure among all the parties to help hold this deal together. You can imagine that there's multiple levels and then there's multiple parties. And until these hostages are released, this is going to be very, very sensitive and difficult to pull off, because there's an active hostilities right up until the moment that this is executed. And while these parties are all at odds with each other, they're trying to build trust.
Yeah, delicate. I think the Qataris are the ones who are driving this at this stage. But what do you make of this 3-for-1 trade-off? This is according to officials who've said to the BBC and our colleagues at Sky in the UK. So it would be for every one Israeli hostage, it would be 3 Palestinian prisoners, 50 Israeli hostages as total, 150 Palestinians. What do you make of that trade-off?
Well, this is pretty consistent with what we've seen with prior exchanges with Hamas and other groups with regard to Israel. That in many cases, that ratio has been much greater, that we've seen hundreds released from Israel to match just one soldier to get back.
Wow. So I want to ask you, and it's just all part and parcel of negotiations, how they would have come to 3.
Well, this is a lot of back and forth. And what it says is that there's a limited number here of hostages. And I think that we are going to continue to see this very incrementally move, that Hamas is not going to want to give up this advantage.
Yeah.
And they want to see this proved that it can actually be executed.
So that's a good point. Yeah, sorry, Phil. I mean, that's a good point. I mean, it feels like Hamas still has an upper hand here of sorts, because there's still, 180, 190 Israeli hostages who would be kept in Gaza after this?
That's right. But remember, too, that we don't know who's going to be released. We don't know the condition, and it hasn't happened yet. So the release itself is going to build some momentum for potentially other releases, but the dynamics around that will change. One hopeful note is that all of the parties are actually working on something, might sign a piece of paper that they agree to certain terms. And then if they follow through on this, this might be the most important aspect of this entire crisis.
4 to 5 days is the claim at the moment in terms of an extended pause of fighting. That's basically to allow the exchange of prisoners. This is according to reports that have come from Hamas. Is that enough time to get this done, do you think?
I think that it is, and I think that a lot is going into trying to give, to recognize that Hamas is command and control over the various factions, the various places, the hostage, the actual jailers of the hostages, that is limited, that this is an active crisis site. There's active hostilities, that communication can be intermittent from the various parties. And I think you need to allow for time to be able to execute that. Now, the time can allow it to be done safely, but it also can allow for intervening events that might disrupt it. So it's very, very situation.
An event such as someone pulling a trigger.
Exactly. And for everybody to get the message in these various factions where there's a lot of animosity, there's zero trust, that's what makes this both very, very positive and remarkable, but also very delicate.
Fascinating. Phil Andrew, good to have you with us this morning. Thank you so much for your time.